always another day, another night, bittersweet blessing in disguise. Tomorrow, we're the authors of tomorrow. Tomorrow, tomorrow. Eyes open wide, daydream at night. My thoughts collide. Someday they'll see behind their screens me shining bright. They're gonna try to clip your wings, lock you up and make you sing, but they'll never cage your dreams. So fly away, 'cause we've got tomorrow. We're the pages in the wind. We've got tomorrow. We're that tale that lies within. There's always another day, another night, a bittersweet blessing in disguise. Tomorrow, we're the authors of our lives. Tomorrow. So I've been obsessed and searched for success, then blinded by the light. Sometimes you are the spider, sometimes you are the flying towards the sky. Started in love, 'cause we got tomorrow. We're the pages in the wind. We've got tomorrow. We're that soul that light. There's always another day, another night.
Hello everyone and welcome to YouTube Live, and also welcome to the first day of March. I cannot believe it's already March. January was going so slow and then February is just like, hey, I'm over. So very strange, but happy to have you guys here. Yes, it is March 1st. We at Zenfolio are very excited to be continuing into the new year. It doesn't even feel like a new year anymore, and it's really going by super fast. But if you're new here, feel free to throw out where you're from in the comments. We'd be happy to hear from you, introduce you to everyone on the live stream. And if you've been here before, feel free to start throwing out your questions. And that really goes for anyone, but we would love to answer your questions live on YouTube today. To start though, we are going to talk about the different ways that you can order for your clients. So this comes in handy when someone gets stuck in checkout and just can't continue. They might be older and don't have a computer, you know, whatever the reason is, you can place an order for your customer. So when you place an order for them, you can check out with base lab prices. And all that means is that you are paying the bare minimum price, just what it costs for the lab to make the product, and then the shipping. But in theory, that would all be covered by whatever the photographer paid you ahead of time, so it could work out very well for you. So you're not going to charge yourself your upcharge, you're just going to create, or any profit, you're just going to check out at base lab prices. So you would just be paying yourself otherwise. But there are two ways to do this, and again, if you have any questions while I'm in the middle of this, feel free to throw it out in the chat and we can take a look. The very first one is actually going to require that you clear your browser cache before starting. I will say this is not the preferred method, because if you forget to do your browser cache, sometimes it can get a little funky. And if you're not sure how to clear your browser cache, you may want to check out a link. I'll get Robert to send that out. He's monitoring for us today. We kind of switched places. But if you can check out that link, it should tell you how to clear your browser cache. or you can just do a general Google search, just how to clear cache in Google Chrome, and it should show you. But once you've actually done that and got that all taken care of, you can purchase on the front end of your account. And I'll show you the back end in a minute. So let me get myself out of the way here. So if I want to purchase in the front end, I might go to the photo section of the account and actually choose the gallery that I want to order from. That might be, let's go to Sarah's Bridals. She does have a price list enabled. That's going to be important. And the whole reason you might want to go this route is in order to, if they have like a package and you just want to quickly fill that out, instead of having to go through and like choose all of those items all over again, it can be helpful to just do it on the front end, just like a customer would. But once you've confirmed that your pricing is enabled, you can go to preview at the top of the page. And when that comes up, we can click on an image, and then we can just go to checkout, just like any sort of customer would, just the shop in general. So this message is going to appear. This is very, very, very important. Your visitors will not see this message, just like this message tells you. But this is where you're going to want to choose to order at base prices. Again, this is assuming that you have already been paid by the customer, so you don't want to upcharge yourself. So we'll choose order at base prices, and then the shop will appear. And when it does, we will be able to see all of the prices for yourself. And I don't have all of these items available on my own price list, but these are going to be the ones for the base prices. So we can go to prints. I might decide that I want a large print and that I need a 16 by 20 of this one for the customer. I'll see all the framing options, all that good stuff in the front end here, and I'll eventually add that to the cart. And once that's added, I would just go back to the gallery and order more, or go straight to the cart, whatever's necessary, and check out. Again, this method isn't necessarily preferred though, because if you don't clear your browser cache, that message will not appear, and you may add this to your cart accidentally at the visitor prices, which would not be ideal. So we definitely want to make sure that the base price is enabled, and you can check out what those base prices are in the dashboard of your account. So if you're curious what those are, let me go back to the dashboard. You can go to selling, and then you can go to products from integrated vendors. So I know that I'm going to purchase from MPix, so I might open them up, and I'll scroll to the bottom. And they have their products and the base prices listed here. So if you just want to know what those are going in, those are all going to be listed here. And we'll see that that 16 by 20 is $20.39 in the eSurface color paper. So yes, you will definitely want to make sure you are buying at that price and not visitor prices. Things can get very tricky after that, especially with reporting your income and taxes at the end of the year. So you want to make sure you are at base lab prices. Now the other way is a little bit easier. There's a little bit less to worry about, less to mess up. You can go to the photo section of your account just like we did before and open up that same gallery. This time it doesn't matter if pricing's enabled. We're just going to go straight into the buying section of your account at base lab prices. So let's say this is still the photo I want to order, and I want to order this one and a few others at the 4x6 size. I would select all of the ones I want, and in order to select multiple, you'll want to go and click the command button on your keyboard. It may be the control key if you're on a PC. Hold it down and then click. And now you'll see I have two selected. And I might come through and say like, oh, I actually want these as well. Select all the ones that you want for a particular item. For this, again, I'm just going to go with a 4x6. So once I have them all selected, I will click buy. And this time I'm not going to see that message because I am in the back end of my account. I am only going to be able to see base lab costs going this method. So from here I would go to prints, maybe narrow down the vendor, like I know I want to go to MPix, and then I'll select that 4x6 size. When I click add, it's going to ask me about the different cropping options, color correction, all that good stuff. I can add that and configure all of the products that way at once, or kind of go through and change each individual one if needed. Like I might decide that, oh, I'm just going to crop this one in particular, and then I'm going to add color correction on just one. You can go through and do that in specific items by using that next and back button. But again, just to configure all of them, you'll want to click that, and it will make all of them exactly the same. You can also change your quantity down here if you decided I want 3 4x6s of this image. And then you can add that to the cart, and it's going to add all of those. So all of those are in 4x6s now. I can go to the cart and view it if need be. And now I should see that original 16x20 and my 4x6s. And I do have 3 of that particular image. From here I can go back, and I might want to order more, so I can select all the ones I want to order in the next particular item. You know, that might be aluminum art from IYP. So I might go to the Zenfolio US lab, choose the metals, and do 8x12s. It's going to, again, give you all the same options, add them to the cart, and then we'll go to the cart and view them. So super duper straightforward. If it turns out that something needs to be double checked, it will give you a warning that something hasn't been configured correctly. You can always go back and just double check that everything's all right with that. But yeah, whenever you're ready to check out, you would check out just like a customer and go to checkout. Enter all your details and everything should be just fine. So yeah, that's pretty much it for ordering in the back end of your account for a customer. There are a few tips though that I wanted to provide. Just because I know sometimes things can get a little bit finicky with ordering this way. One thing that is very important is that you use your email address whenever you check out, when you're ordering at base prices, because a receipt is going to be sent to whatever email address you use, so you do not want to use your customers. So that's super important. And when the actual package arrives, though, it is safe to send it directly to the customer, because there is going to be no invoice included with that. It's just going to be kind of a check sheet, but no prices included. So it's safe to send it to them, just not that email address, because that is going to have the prices on it. All right. The other thing I wanted to note is that you probably don't want to use your customer's credit card in this area. That can get super tricky as well. It is possible when you're checking out to update the credit card for your account as a whole. So if you're entering your customer's credit card information and that gets saved, it's possible that your account could actually charge something to them going forward. It's just very easy to check off that little box that says update my credit card information with this card. So you probably want to avoid using your customer's credit card in this area. If your customer wants to check out directly with you on a computer, you should probably just set up a client account for them, or just log out completely and let them check out as a guest, either way. But you don't want to be logged in if you're going to allow them to enter their credit card information. So for this, I usually, with my customers, I let them come through with PayPal or a check and pay me up front, and then I know I've already been paid with my markup, and I'll just place the order for them in the back end. So it works out very well that way, and I don't have to worry about that little box, because we don't want the customer to be charged for your renewal. It would not be good. As nice as that would be, but not good. So I hope this helps, guys. If you have any questions about this, definitely throw it out in the chat and we can take a look. Let me get back to the chat here. It looks like a couple people have said hi. Oh, and Robert threw out that clear cache link. That's awesome. Thank you, Robert. Roxanne is joining us today. Hello, Roxanne. Hope you're doing good. And Home Phone, he says aloha. So I think we're good there. Let's take a look at some email questions and see what we can do. So the first email question I have, this person says, can I sell a Photoshop action or a template on Zenfolio? That is entirely possible with the use of self-fulfilled products. So let me show you that real quick. I'm just going to go back to the dashboard. So once you're on your dashboard, if you wanted to sell something like a Photoshop action or template, really anything that's just not offered by our partner vendors, you can do that with a self-fulfilled product by going to Selling and then Self-Fulfilled Products. I've got a couple examples here, but I can add a new one just as a test. If this was going to be a Photoshop template that I was selling, I would just name it Photoshop template. I might name what the template's for, maybe Memory Mate through Zenfolio. And you can enter an internal product ID if that's applicable, decide whether it's for photo or video, and add a description. So you could just say exactly what this is for, the size, how you made it, whatever. Add info here. You can go through and set up your base cost, which for a template would probably be 0. But for some products, you know, it costs you to actually make something. But for this, I'll just leave it as 0. Just note this is not the actual price that you are going to charge people. That will be set up later. This is just the cost that it will take for you to create the product for the customer. From here, you can choose what category it shows up in. For me, I'm just going to go with other products since it doesn't really fit into any of the Zenfolio categories. But if you wanted, you could edit this and add it to one of the categories if it did kind of go together. And you can upload an image of what this looks like. So I could just upload a little preview of the actual template or just something to represent it in here in the large preview area. Then there's a couple other items you'll want to check out, like the number of items required for the product. This is going to be how many photos they have to choose in order to purchase that template. So what I would probably do here is create a gallery that just says Photoshop templates. And I would make an image that represents this particular template and give some information about it on that image. So make the image kind of like a marketing piece almost. I would make it so that they had to purchase that image that I created in order to actually get this template from me. So I would set the minimum number and maximum number to 1 because I just want them to select that one image in order to purchase this. From here you can set a couple other things. The important thing here is going to be the shipping though. For this there is no shipping required since it is going to be a digital template that you're sending them. But depending on what sort of item you're selling, if it's like a USB for example, you may need to send that in a small package. If you wanted to, you can set that up in the shipping methods area and go back and add a shipping category. But for right now, I've just got my Photoshop template for a Memory Mate through Zenfolio. I would go into the photos section and upload a placeholder image here. So I could call this templates. Whoops. And then I would just upload something in here. It can literally be anything that just says a little bit about what that template is. It can be a preview of what it looks like. And then you may want to assign that particular item with a price list that matches it. So to set up that price list, I would just add a blank price list in this case. I'd go to add blank price list in the upper right. And I would name this after that one Photoshop template. I don't want to add multiple to this because I'm going to assign this to that one particular image. So Photoshop Memory Mate. I can go to add products, select myself, and then go to other products where I put it. And add it to the cart, or not the cart, add it to the price list, and set my selling price for that. It might be something like $100, who knows. Then I would just save that, and I'm not going to assign it to the entire gallery. I would just assign it to that one photo, which I can show you an example of here. Let me go to the home page images. If I just wanted to assign that to one photo, I would click the photo and then go to pricing on the right. if I just kind of stay in the gallery with nothing selected, it's going to change it for the whole gallery. So I would just select that one memory mate item that's supposed to represent the template, change the pricing to it to be the Photoshop memory mate that I created. And then when they go to checkout, they're not going to see a ton of options. They're just going to see that item. They're going to purchase it straight up. And yeah, so that would be how you would sell any self-fulfilled item really through Zenfolio. And we do have a support guide article on that with selling self-fulfilled products if you need more information on it. And I'll make sure Robert gets that in the chat if he hasn't already. All right, so let's see here. It looks like Roxanne wrote in a question. She said, is there a way to save the links that are posted in chat other than copying and pasting the link, and are they visible after the tutorial is over? Yes, Robert and I are both working on that right now because it doesn't really make sense when you're looking at it afterwards. But we do want to get you guys that information. If you are viewing this after the fact and you're looking for a link, definitely feel free to comment or shoot us a email to support. I think our email, Robert can throw that out in the chat, the little form you can fill out. And you can just say like, hey, I was watching this live stream, I can't find this link. But in general, the links we provide are going to be available to you in the support center. Let me move my head out of the way so I can show you. At the very bottom of pretty much any page, there's going to be the support center here, and that's where we get all our links. So you can always try searching there first, or our YouTube channel. But if you really can't find it, definitely feel free to reach out and we can help. All right, so looks like we have some more email questions. Let's see. This one says, what is the best way to get all of my contacts into Zenfolio? So if you do have a lot of contacts, I honestly would not recommend using Zenfolio for a high volume email campaign because there are some limitations to it, and that's not really what we're set up to do. If you're just wanting to reach out to a few people, I would say even up to like maybe 300, totally fine. But we would recommend probably using a service like MailChimp or What Counts. There's a couple other examples out there. Zenfolio is kind of rudimentary with this, and it was not really designed for the features like what MailChimp has, because that's what their service is all about. But if you do have that reasonable number and want to reach out to people, it's totally possible to use Zenfolio. Let's see. So I'll get Robert to throw out a contact list management link. We do have that available, but I will show you here now what you can do with that. So let's take a look. So I'm going to go to website, or I'm sorry, not website, communications. Where is my brain today? And I'm going to go to the contact list. You'll see that there is a import button. If you click this, it's going to ask you to import a CSV or add your contacts by email. You can just like copy and paste a list as long as they're separated by commas. But you can actually, with most emails, export a big list into a CSV file and just upload that here. I know that's something like Gmail and Yahoo will typically do. So you can try that method or just the copy and paste method, either way. And you will want to note whether you want to overwrite current entries or keep them and discard the imported entry if that person is already in your contact list on here. And you can also, if you're like importing a specific list, like this is just people who visited some particular event you did, you can tag them with that particular event, so that they are all, let's say, part of the Po2 Pirates group here. You could select that and make sure they were tagged to that group. You can also just leave it blank if you just kind of want them all in there in general, and import them. And of course, I have no contacts right now, but eventually, once this was filled in, you would have a huge list of contacts. If you wanted to reach out to them, you could click this little button here and it will select all. If you want to reach out to just those contacts in particular, you could open up the Show All Contacts area and click that group that they would be tagged in and apply it. That will show only the people who are tagged with that specific item, which none of these are, but then you could select all again and just reach out to those people. So it is possible to do some pretty neat stuff with this. It's just not at that really like high volume level. So I definitely recommend checking that out. Even if it's just family and friends, you know, sometimes they like to know when you have discounts too. So super, super helpful tool. All right, let's see what else we've got going on here. Oh, Robert's correcting me. That's the high school he went to, is Poto? I don't know how to say it. But apparently it's Poto. My bad, Robert. But I'm going to move on to the next question if that's cool with you guys. But continue to throw out your questions in the chat because we definitely want to get those answered today. This next person says, how do I change my display name? So you can change your display name, username, all sorts of good stuff after the account is created. You're definitely not locked into those things. So in order to change that, you'll want to go to Settings and Account. Remove myself here. And once that comes up, there is a display name and copyright section in the top there. And when I open that up, let's just say that I originally set this up to be my name, my personal name, and not my business name. I could change this to then say Flawless Focus Photography. If I wanted to do the opposite, I could just type my name here, whatever works. But this is what will show up on your homepage if you do not have a logo uploaded. So it is important that this is correct and matches whatever sort of branding that you are doing on your page. I know this person asked about display names, but it may be that you want to change your username as well. So for anyone curious, the username can be done in the personal information section. And this is where you will, it's like your domain name. So it'll say flawlessfocusphotography.zenfolio.com. If I initially entered that as my personal name and want to change that to my business name, I can do that here. So I no need to create a whole new account when things like that happen. You can change this in Zenfolio. You just might want to be careful about it to make sure all your branding matches up, all of it's the same. And you want to be careful also when changing your username if you've already provided this link to some people. They may get redirected somewhere weird. They may be shown that there is no site available. So you want to be careful with changing these things, but make sure that the necessary changes are being made. So definitely recommend checking that out. And it looks like Roxanne's making fun of me too. Roxanne says, yes it is. Thank you, Robert, for the proper pronunciation. A good old French name also. You guys aren't funny. Alright, well I am going to check out another email question. This person says, can I import a custom font onto Zenfolio? So this is actually not possible, I'm afraid. Since viewers would typically not have access to that font on their own computer, we don't allow custom fonts in Zenfolio, but we do have a ton of fonts available from Google and just standard ones as well. So there is a help guide article on this and how to set it up in the theme designer, if I can get Robert to throw that out. But I'm also happy to show you guys here today too. So let me move my head. And we will check out the customized website view. So this is where you'll change those fonts that your customer sees on your website. There are a million places to change a font, to be honest with you, so you'll really want to narrow this down to be a little more specific to the area you want to change a font in. But if you just hate all the fonts on your website, it is possible to just kind of come in and change all of that. What I would do is go to themes at the top of the page, and I might create a brand new theme where I might just edit one that is already here. So I'll open that up super quick. The theme designer does take just a second to load. There is a ton of information there, so we'll give that a minute. But yeah, so the Google fonts, if you're not familiar, Google actually has some fonts that they've created that we do utilize on Zenfolio. There's about 400 or more of them, if I'm not mistaken, so definitely check out that help guide article that Robert's going to send out. Now, I might just decide I want to change my display name on the home page. That would be done on home page. You'd make your selected element the display name. And the font family is what you're going to want to change here. At the very top is just like the standard stereotypical fonts, but then there is a huge list of Google fonts. There is the option to add fonts. I believe you can search through Google and find those. It'll probably take a second to kind of generate those previews, but there are a ton on here. So definitely don't feel limited to that list that we have. You might decide you want the Aquafina script, and you can click that and add that as well. You can also remove some on the right if you decide like, I don't really like that one. So you can make a huge list for yourself to choose from. It's super duper neat. The only thing I would suggest is kind of giving it a minute to load those, because it does take a second to kind of render them and show you a preview of what they look like. But yeah, and once you find a font that works for you, like it might be that Aquafina one I mentioned, you can click OK, and then open this back up, scroll down to the Google fonts, and then select that. Now, it might look a little weird. You may need to edit it a tiny bit. Just do whatever you need to do. But if you wanted to change that as well for like certain other areas, you may check out the Style tab and just do like the normal text. I don't know, your site menu items, things like that. So there's a lot to change on here, and it may take a little bit of time to get it perfected. But once you pick that font, you can run wild with it and really customize the look of your website. And whenever you're done, you'll just want to click Save and then Done. And I've got a logo on my homepage, so we won't be able to see it, but normally it would be in the Customize Website View area. I can show you here. Well, oh, I'm using the site header, that would be why. So if I choose to use the display name instead of my logo now, it should be that fancy font I just create. Well, I didn't create it. I set it up in my site. Now again though, so this did not change, as you'll see. I know I saved it. I believe this is happening. Someone may want to correct me if I'm wrong, Robert. But I believe it's not showing because I don't have this font on my actual computer. So this is why we don't really recommend doing it that way and using like the standard ones. But yeah, so it is possible. You'll just want to check that out. I might have even changed it in the wrong place. I'm not sure what I did there. But anyway, that would be how you change it and select all the different fonts and put them in different areas. Oh, I know what I did. I put it on the... Aha, let's do this. That should take care of it. Even we have brain farts in customer success, so that's just proof of it right there. There we go. So, of course, it's in a really super ugly place right now, but that font is there, and it can be used. So, yeah, that would be where you would change that, is in the theme designer. And yeah, if I can get Robert to send out that link if he hasn't already, that'll be super helpful. That'll show you how to change it in several different areas. All right. So I think Roxanne had a question for us. She says, if I wanted to offer a digital file along with my printed work, should I add two price lists, one for print and one for digital downloads? Say stock images, for example, or should I just create stock work separately? It kind of depends on what you want to do, Roxanne. Let me go back to the selling portion of the account so I can kind of give you some ideas here. If you just kind of want to make the two available to customers just in general, you might just add both of them to one price list. Because let's say you have like a stock photography gallery. You would need to, I guess, go and assign one price list to that gallery. So you would want to have both the digital download option and the regular option for prints available on there. So if you wanted to do something like that and add both of the options onto one price list, that can be done. So let me show you that super duper quick. We'll call this stock photography. Okay. And I would just go to add products. This is assuming I already have a digital download created, by the way, just to be super clear. So I would add whatever print sizes I wanted. Let's say it's a 4x6 and an 8x12. And then for the digital product, I would just add that as well. For that, I would select my name from the list. and go to the downloads category and choose whichever one I selected or made, and set a price for all of those accordingly. So that is an option. Now, if you want to force people to buy both a digital product and a print together, that is also possible. So instead of having like this option to buy either or both, you could force them to buy both at the same time. And that would be done in the packages area. So that would be done by going, let me save this so I can come back to it. That'd be done by going to selling and then packages. So we can create a package with the print size and the digital product. So I'll say stock photography package 1. So when this comes up, we will do the same exact thing we did in the price list, but we're just going to create a package of that item. So you might want to do the download, and then we'll add in a, let's say an 8x12 you want to offer with it. Whoops, there we go. So I'll select 8x12. Now both of these products are going to be in the same package and customers will be forced to purchase them. You can kind of configure this however you need, and change the selling price to whatever you want, maybe $10. And then you would click next, put the package in a category. Usually I just keep it in packages. In the description I like to include what is included, so I might say 1 digital image file and 1 8x12 print. And you can upload what that looks like to show your customers if needed, and then you're pretty much done with creating it. We just need to add it to the price list now. So then we would go to selling and then price list, open up that stock photography price list again, and once that loads we will add a package instead. And the packages are going to show up under my name since it's something that I made, and I can choose the stock photography package. And when I'm offering these packages, I may not want to offer them a la carte because then people will probably not buy the packages. They'll just kind of go with the a la carte option and go with whatever's there. So I might force them to purchase a package only. That would be an option. But you could include both in the price list. Either way is totally fine. If you feel a stock photo customer would be interested in prints, then by all means have them on the price list. But if you think they only want stock images, you know, you don't want to clutter up your price list with unuseful stuff for those users. So it would also seem more professional, I think, if they were buying stock images, just off of like a very clean and professional price list. So kind of up to you what you want to do there, Roxanne. You can definitely let us know what you had in mind, and I can show you if I haven't already. But your options are kind of endless here. But whenever you were ready, you would just want to save and assign that to that stock photography gallery I assume you already have created. I do not have one, but we can pretend it's the templates one and click save. And from there, those options would be available to the customers buying in that particular gallery. It's just important to remember that only one price list can be assigned per gallery. So any items you do want to make available need to be available on that price list you're assigning. So just let us know if that didn't answer the question quite right, but I hope that helped. All right. So let's see what else we've got here. I think we have some email questions. Oh, here's a good one. This is another theme designer one. Yay. This person says, is it possible to have a border going around my entire site? I kind of want to give my site a layered look with 2 colors I use for all of my branding. So yes, this is possible. This would be back in the theme designer. I'll go there super quick. And just a quick reminder, you can get there by going to website and then customize website. And once that loads, we're just going to go to themes again in that upper left corner. And again, you can edit an old theme or create a new one, either way. I'm just going to edit an old one. And when that loads, we are going to check out the Style tab. This is where you can set up your page background. And it will go throughout all pages, I do believe. So we can check that out too. Theme designer, like I said, it takes a little while, but we'll get there. Okay. Well, while it's loading, I guess we can talk about the two different colors too. So I know with my own personal site, my colors are white and navy. So I may want to have like navy going around the outside of my site, but a white box in the middle. If this person, it sounded like they wanted to add some actual texture to their website, that's going to be possible too. So we can take a look. In the Style tab, you'll want to make sure your selected element is the page background. And there is a section that's called Page Mat here. So you'll want to make sure that is checked. Now, I might change the background to a different color. So let's say that my colors are this blue, and let's say it's neon green for whatever crazy reason. So I now have the neon green in the background here. And let's say I wanted this page mat to be a certain color. I would come down here on the matte section and make it that blue color. And voila. I hope these are not your colors personally, but you can make these whatever sort of colors you want. Now the other thing with adding a little bit of texture to your site, if you wanted to, you could change the background image. We have some uploaded here that just add a little bit of texture, like there's a perforated look. There's something we have called metal, yellow drywall. You can pick any of these really. I might just go with the floral dark to start and apply that. So it's this really ugly green color right now, but you could literally change this to anything that you think looks nice. I could even make these two colors match a little bit better. I could, like, let's say this is the color I want and I already selected it for my menu bar. I can copy that HTML code, go to done, click back on that page mat, and change it here. So it looks a little bit nicer, I think. So if your colors were gray and this particular gray blue, you can make a really nice looking site. You know, just add something in the background is my recommendation and keep the page mat pretty clean. It is possible to add a matte image as well. Like I've seen people do this romantic one. Personally, I am not a big fan of this. I like to keep it very, very nice and clean on the page mat and just add an interesting look to the background. Plus, ooh, let's go back with the color. Hold on. There we go. The other thing you can do while I'm thinking about it, you can make this slightly transparent as well. So if you want that texture to kind of come through just a little bit in the front, you can do that too. Maybe make this a little bit brighter just so it matches a little better. And then click done, and you can see that texture behind it just a little bit, so it's not completely lost in the front and just a big blank box. Another thing you can do, I'm going to set this back, is instead of just having like a box in the middle of the page, I like to add corners. So I might round off those edges a little bit. And now it just looks a little more attractive. It looks like some time and effort was put into this. You can change those corners now too so that it looks a little nice as well. And whenever you're done, you can save that. You can also double check. Let's go to the home page. It should continue over to the home page, and it should also continue over into the galleries. You'll just want to double check that that has happened. Sometimes with the page mats it gets a little tricky getting it right on all three, but it should continue over with these. So I will then save that and click done, and we can take a look at how it looks. You can always go back in and kind of tinker with it, get it exactly how you want it to look. Okay. Let me fix that back again. Now, I will say certain layouts will not allow for that to happen, which I believe is what's happened here. You see it happen in the background, but then these photos are kind of covering it up. So if you do use a page mat, I would recommend going with a classic layout since it does kind of add some room around it. So I'll just select one of those and show you super quick. So this will allow for that background to be seen a little bit better. Yeah. And we can go to preview. So this is not filled in at the moment, but you can see that background, the corners I set up, and the colors. And looks pretty nice that way, I think. So yeah, if you wanted to add something, give it a little more texture, use your specific colors, that can be done in the theme designer with a page mat. So I hope that answers that email question. Okay. So let's see here. I think we're good on chat. Oh yeah, Roxanne said, my eyes, ow. You would be very surprised the crazy websites I have seen before. Now's a good time to mention. We do offer a site redesign service. It is free through Zenfolio, and basically what we'll do is if you have a specific design in mind and you just can't make it happen, you're using these neon colors and people do not like it, you can reach out to us and we will perform a free site redesign. You just fill out a form and we kind of take care of the rest. It's really neat because we'll kind of take the opportunity to teach you about the changes you're making so you can make them yourself in the future, and have complete control over your website, but we kind of do it for you to begin with, and then you can fill in the blanks after that. We also have a design partner, Sherry Warren. I can get Robert to throw out her information. She is a true professional. So if you were interested in having, like, I think she does logos, if I'm not mistaken, all sorts of good information from her can be put into your Zenfolio site, and you can kind of play around with it after she sets it up. But she's not really going to teach you about the changes. She's just going to outright do it for you and help you make your website. So she is also a super good resource. So if you're seeing all these super crazy neon colors and you're just not getting it the way you want it to look, definitely feel free to reach out to us and we can get you in touch with Sherry Warren or tell you more about our site redesign program. All right. Let's see. So this question's a little confusing. This person says, can I sell my saucy cat photos on Zenfolio? I don't know what they're asking, unfortunately. If someone can clue me in, that would be wonderful, but I have no idea what saucy cat is. If someone has any idea, let me know, and I can probably better answer this question. But if you were the person who wrote in and you are watching, please reach out to our support team. We'll be happy to answer your question there. All right. A email question I can actually answer. This person says, I'm currently on the older premium plan. What are the benefits to upgrading to the advanced plan? So I'll get Robert to throw out a link to our plan differences page, but I can also show you. I think we can go to, let's go to settings and account. There's so many different pages. Gosh, I have a special account so I can't upgrade. Let me show you. I just have a bookmarked link here. This link that I'm about to show you, super useful for just comparing the different plans. This person has a premium business plan though, and it is a plan that we no longer offer. It's kind of retired, but you can still renew at it if interested. The premium business plan is equivalent to the advanced plan. Then we also have just a premium plan that's kind of equivalent to pro. And then unlimited and basic would be more similar to the starter plan. And they're not all exactly the same, but they're pretty similar, I would say. So it's a good place to start. And if you do have any questions about specific features, you can come down here and kind of read about exactly what is included with these. And, you know, you're probably familiar with your own plan. But if you're not certain if you have a feature, you can definitely reach out to us and we can answer that for you. So you'll see with like all of the accounts straight across the board, I get unlimited photos with all of them. But I can scroll down and with the advanced account level, I can see the features that are only available to that account level. One of the best ones in my opinion is that you get phone support at the advanced account level. So it's definitely worth upgrading in my opinion when you just have one of those emergency situations where chat is just not going to do it. Email is just not going to do it. You just need immediate help. And that is available Monday through Thursday, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard. Otherwise, if you catch us outside of those hours, we usually do have chat available a little longer, and we always have email support going. But certainly worth upgrading, in my opinion, if you're someone who works during those hours and could probably use a little bit of additional help. On top of that, we also have an events management feature. Events are really super duper. They work really well, I think, for school photographers and sports photographers. It's basically a way for customers to look up themselves and themselves only. So, like, if someone was in a race and they had a bib number that had, like, their running number on it, let's say their number was 23, they could come in and search 23 and see all of the images with just 23 that are keyworded with that number. So they don't have to search through all of that entire race to find themselves. So that's a really cool feature. There are a ton of other ones you may want to read about, and if you don't know what something means, definitely feel free to reach out. We can tell you more about your upgrading options, and the coolest thing is that you will get a prorated discount if you do upgrade for time unused on your current plan. So you can upgrade at any time and basically be refunded for the time that you haven't used yet. It's a little bit different than downgrading, because unfortunately we can't offer help with downgrading with a refund after 30 days. But with upgrading, you can do that at any time, and we'll be happy to offer that discount back. So definitely something to check out. You just kind of compare your features and see if Zenfolio is working for you in every way it can. All right. So Roxanne had one more question. She said, can digital downloads be offered in different file sizes? That is possible. So let me go back to my account here. When you're setting up the download, again, you'll just go to the selling section and then digital products. Remove myself. And when you actually add this product, there is a way to set this up for different sizes. The only thing is, if you're doing this and you plan on offering certain sizes, you'll need to make sure your photos meet that certain size at least. So we will resize them into high resolution, medium resolution, and low resolution. And you can also do like the original file, or you can do specific dimensions. So if you're planning on offering a high resolution option, you'll want to make sure that your customers are going to be able to actually select that. So having an image that is at least 5 megapixels is going to be super important. Otherwise that option may not show for them. But I might call this one, let's say 5 high resolution downloads. So here I would choose that high resolution option, and as long as my images were at least 5 megapixels, I would be good to go. I would just select my license, whatever that would be, change the category. Since I'm offering 5 of these, the maximum and minimum number should also be 5. That'll force people to choose 5 images for this particular item, and I will set up a price for a group of 5. You can create a large and small preview and then just add that to your price list. And then you might come in and do a medium resolution, low resolution. You may create your own quote-unquote web resolution, whatever works for you. But it is possible to add several different downloads, charge accordingly for the different items too. But we can resize those for you whenever that is requested. So I hope that helps, Roxanne. Just let me know if you have any other questions with that. And we do have, I think we've got about 8 minutes left. So if you have any questions, let us know. I'd be happy to answer those before we part ways today. All right. Oh, and Robert just threw out an awesome link to a video you'll definitely want to check out too. We have a ton of really awesome tutorials on the digital download, so be sure to check that out as well. All right, I think I'll just take an email question. Let's see what this person says. They say, my galleries are a mess. How can I organize them? I know personally when I first started with Zenfolio, I was not organizing my stuff in any way, shape, or form. And I would just find myself completely lost when I was trying to actually go back and locate something. So we have set it up since when I first started, where there is actually organization there for you already. And it's broken up into a portfolio, client galleries, and then just regular galleries outside of those two. So let's see here. If you wanted to, you could totally change this to be whatever works for you. I've got the Poto Pirates available under the client galleries. Like, I've got another group just for them specifically. Then I've just got my regular client galleries outside of here too. But basically what I've done here is I've got groups with galleries in them. And then I've also got groups within groups within groups and galleries within that. So you can get into some really deep organization by using the group feature. So if I was in the All Photographs group, I could create a new group in that by going to New and then Group. And it says right here that groups are going to hold galleries, collections, and other groups. So they're basically just used for organization, and then the gallery is what is actually going to hold your photographs. So think of groups as just like organization folders and galleries as the folder that's going to hold your images. And again, an example of a group would be like the client galleries folder here, or portfolio. Now, wedding and engagement, portraiture, and events are all going to be galleries that have actual images in them. So I hope that explains a little better. We do have a super awesome tutorial on photo organization as well, if I can get Robert to throw that out. And you can check that out, and hopefully that'll help a little bit. All right. I got it right that time, Roxanne. All right. I think I have time for maybe one or two more email questions if we don't have any chats. This email question is, I don't like the way my homepage menu looks, but like everything else about the look of the homepage. Is there a way to use the menu on all other pages on the homepage? There is. So let's go to Customize Website View super quick. And just to kind of break down the difference for you, on your home page you can set up a site header that is specific just to the home page. And then on other pages you can have, let me show you here, a completely different look. So I think I've got it the same across. So in order to get it this way, what I did on the home page was go to Options, and I've got Show Page Header set to show. Now if you have the home page logo and home page menu set to show and hide that, it's going to look like a completely different menu from this page. So let's take a look real quick. Right, so this is like a menu just for the landing page of the home page, just to make it really stand out. But then if I go to that client access page, I'm going to have a completely different header. But if you want that consistency, or just really don't like the look of this and just can't get it to look the way you want it to, again, you can go to the options and then page elements, set the page header to show, and then hide the other two. And then it will be consistent throughout. And you'll always want to be sure to publish your changes whenever you are done. All right. So we've got time for at least one more email question. This user says, my site menu items will not fit in my site header. They get cut off at a point. I have more items I want to show, so how can I show them? While we're here, this is a great question. So the way that I've got this set up, I've got a really long bar that my site menu items can fit across. But if I limit the size of the spotlight content and it does not stretch across the entire page, and I have more menu items, it is possible they would get cut off. So my best advice here is to make that spotlight content as big as possible. You can change the actual size of it by going to Spotlight Content and going to the Set Layout tab. Depending on what your Spotlight content is, you may not be able to change this depending on the layout and what that content is. But I know with the classic menu items you can change this, so you may consider switching to a classic menu item. I would change the size to exact dimensions and maybe make this something like 1,000 pixels by whatever aspect ratio my images are at. I have no idea. So I might go with that and set it to fit the entire image and not have a border. I haven't chosen a slideshow yet, or a gallery yet. So I would just insert that. That'll make it pretty big, and then there should be plenty of space for that to stretch across the top. So this is a really ugly example, but again, you would just want to make that as big as possible. The other piece of advice I have is to be sure to use drop-down menus. So I've seen a lot of sites where people don't utilize this feature. They'll just have like home, weddings, engagements, portraiture, events. They'll go through all of their different genres of photography, when really they could just have a drop-down menu and kind of save some space. So there's just one menu item here instead of 3. So if your images are getting cut off, you may consider creating a drop-down. And to do that, you would just want to go to New, you would name the menu item, and then do Show Drop-Down. And then it's going to need some menu items under it, so you can click the plus sign. You can name it here, and then choose what you want to connect to that. And so now if I reload that preview, I'm going to have the portfolio drop-down with the name here item underneath of it, instead of out to the side. But since I already have a portfolio one, I'm going to remove that. Alright guys, let's see here. So Robert says, Kayla doesn't speak French, but she is pretty fluent in Simlish. There was a video Robert had to do where I had to speak in a made-up language, and he initially sent me some really crazy Lord of the Rings language. I have no idea what it was, and I couldn't even pronounce what I was looking at. So I looked up Simlish and made up some words, and the video turned out pretty good. I wonder if Robert has a link to that. But he likes to poke fun at me for me saying turkey nurbler in a video that we made. So please ignore Robert. It looks like we're about out of time today, guys. It was really nice getting to hang out with you. There will be a recording of this available a little bit later. So definitely check back if you want to review anything that was available here. And if you have any questions for next week that you'd like answered, there is a document available in the description, and we can answer your questions live if you didn't get a chance to view it live. So really nice hanging out with you guys. Have a great rest of your day, and happy beginning of March.
We've got to